Welcome to the daily discussion.
Hi.
So, have you ever talked about blackberries before?
No, don't care.
Let's. So, we're talking about blackberries today. What is a blackberry? Do you have a photo for us, Logan?
Yes, I do. It's right here.
Logan, that's not the blackberry. That's a BlackBerry LTD. That's a phone.
They have a good stock price though. Look at them. They're up 0.5 points, 0.05 points. I thought that was a BlackBerry.
I don't know.
It says BlackBerry.
That's true.
Maybe they're spelled different.
Maybe. Can you get us a photo of an actual blackberry?
Possibly. I think so. Yeah, here we go.
That is. Alright. So, let's talk about blackberries. Logan, what soil conditions are needed?
Well, for blackberry, you need high acidic soils between pH of 5 to 6.5 acidic soils, and sometimes it actually requires ground limestone to, so if you need to increase your pH, put some ground limestone on it. But out here, it's all alkaline, so it's hard to, not alkaline. It's pretty easy. There's some types that actually you can grow out here in our soil,
Okay.
but yeah.
So, types like Chester and stuff?
Mm.
Alright. So, what did you say the acidity was again?
What?
What did you say the acidity for blackberries were?
Oh, the acidic soil? The pH what?
How high is the pH?
Between 5.6 to 6.2 acidic. So about a 5 to a 6.5.
How acidic is that?
Pretty darn acidic. Really, really acidic. A 7 is 7 medium, right?
Yeah,
So
7's the medium.
7's medium. So it's hard to get below 7. It's hard to change. It's really expensive to change from acidic or from alkaline to acidic. So if you don't have acidic soil, it's kind of hard to do.
Okay. How should you plant them? Like, how far apart should they be? Should they be like an inch to a foot apart? Or does it just mainly matter via the variety?
Well, it depends on the type of plant. If it's an upright type of blackberry, they want to be at least 3 feet apart in the rows, and then the rows should be 8 feet apart. So, pretty far apart rows. So you need a lot of space for this. For trailing types, which are, kind of like, they trail, I think they grow into a bush, not as tall standing, but they'll grow into, maybe 3 feet tall, I guess. I don't think they grow that tall, but they say allow 5 to 8 feet between them, so they can grow apart because they, trail. And then 6 to 10 feet between the rows, because, because the tall ones, they go straight up. So if you're trailing, you want lots of space for them.
Oh, okay. Is there anything you really have to do soil prep besides the pH?
If you have really good organic matter, if you have really really organic soil, you really don't have to change anything. But if you need to, change your organic matter in your soil,
So compost would be a great
way.
addition for these.
Or
soil.
cover crop.
Okay.
Cover crop would be a good one.
Okay. All right. So.
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
Heard there's many different types of blackberries. Can you name us at least 5?
Yeah.
And tell me their advantages and disadvantages.
Okay. So first, like we mentioned before, is the Chester. Now, the Chester it's from Maryland, and it's a winter hardy one. And so it'd be a great one to grow here, considering how cold it gets and how late we have the frost.
Yeah.
And so it's a late season berry, which means it's going to give fruit later in the season, and it's going to be of a mild flavor, but it's going to be hardy and it won't leak in the sun, and it won't rot easy. It's resistant to Botryosulfura dothiata. I'm not sure if I pronounced that, so I'm going to put that probably up there in the video later. And so after that, in the winter hardiness section, we have the Hull. It's also from Maryland, and it's second in winter hardiness to the Chester. This fruit is also of mild flavor, and it ripens after the variety, the black satin. And the hull was a higher yield and is great for for you to pick and grow. Another one is not Ches. It's a thornless berry, and it ripens early. So you want to pick it early, the same time, and it ripens about the same time as our foe, but with higher yield, so it's more plentiful.
So you get more out of it.
Yeah, you get more out of the berry.
You just have to pick it earlier.
And its sugar content is 9.5% of it, so it's a decent amount. It grows on canes.
So it's do you think it's upright? Because cane, sugar cane?
Yeah, I think this one's a upright one. It doesn't do too well in chilling and such as like
Preservatives and stuff?
Yeah.
Or does it do well?
No substantial common diseases observed, which is really good. So it isn't resistant. So it's really good for the tropical higher places.
Florida and stuff.
Yeah. Primark 45. It was released from the University of Arkansas. It yields better than previously berries from the university, and they're medium to large size, and they're larger when grown, and they grow in moderate summer climates such as Oregon and California. So they're going to be over in the western coastal area where most crops are grown. So it probably won't do too well in places here like Vernal. And we have the prime gem to finish us off, and it's a primo cane fruiting berry, which means it produces fruit on its first year of growth. It's medium size. It's ideal for home gardening. This is a kind of pruning how Logan prunes his raspberries at home by you can take a mower right over them and just mow them to the ground. Good, easy pruning. And the fruit matures earlier than the Primark 5, so it's going to be an earlier yield, and it's a great, splendid choice for the northern places like us. So,
you talked about pruning. Can you tell us more? Oh, and training.
Training?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's training.
All right. So, pruning with certain things you can prune by hand and stuff, and then with the other ones you can just go right over with the mower. I don't know too much about pruning, but with some varieties, like I said, you can just run them down with your mower if you want. You want to cut off the tips. Yeah. Okay. So you cut off the tips, so you can have more growth. All right. So yeah, and so the training is really similar to grapes. How you have two poles and you have wire in between. You let the plant grow up. You have ones that you do what do you call it? A 4-lead training?
Yeah, 4-lead. Not 4-lead. Yeah, something like that.
4-trail? Yeah, 4-trail. 4-trail.
Something like that.
You have 4-trail training. And then you have another one where blackberry, which you still have this two stakes, and you put a wire across the top that they can wrap around, and it's about 4 feet high with these. Could you tell us about some of the harvesting methods?
Yeah. Well, since a blackberry is very fragile, you pick one and squeeze it, it's going to break. They have to be picked by hand and regularly, because think about it, raspberries keep coming back on. They're like strawberries. Once you pick one crop of strawberry, maybe a week later you get a new crop. So it says, pick the fruit regularly and keep the central plug within the fruit. And it's actually kind of good.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching as always, and we hope that you learned as much as we did about blackberries when we did this. So, bye.